My roommate, the poor student, boasting about how he's richer than me, even though I'm a second-generation heir of wealth. In my previous life, I spent 5,000 yuan to hire movers for my luggage. He, on the other hand, spent 10,000 yuan to hire someone to attend classes for him. I never really paid much attention to him, yet he would go around slandering me. He even spent money to issue all sorts of bizarre tasks. He made our classmates serve him, simply to satisfy his vanity. Because of his generous spending, our classmates started to believe he was truly from a rich family. They all fought to serve him. Even the campus beauty, who had been pursuing me, turned and threw herself into his arms. She even came back to criticize me, saying, "He is the real heir of a wealthy family. As for you, even if you threw your money on the ground, he wouldn't even glance at it." Until one day, I was cornered at school by debt collectors. The poor student, standing before everyone, said all of his lavish spending was financed through loans. I was ridiculed by both teachers and students, mocked. After an investigation, I discovered that he had stolen my ID to take out those loans. I was so furious I could barely contain my rage. Just as I was about to press charges against him, he pushed me off a tall building. He spread rumors that I had jumped because I couldn't repay my debts. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on the day he posted those tasks in the group chat. This time, I swore to make him pay for his blood. The first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was his message in the group chat. His tone was as arrogant as ever. "I'm the eldest son of the richest family in the Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai region, the Zhang family. I just wanted to experience the life of an ordinary student at university." He had kept his identity hidden, but there was nothing he could do about it. I just couldn't handle this kind of life. The school wouldn't even let me bring my butler. So from now on, I'll be posting errands in the group chat, bringing me food 20 yuan per trip, cleaning my room 50 yuan each time, attending class for me 50 yuan, washing my clothes 50 yuan. As I looked at these messages, I was still somewhat dazed. Just then, Zhang Wang appeared at the dormitory door. The whole dorm exploded into excitement. My roommates scrambled down from their beds to greet him. Zhou Kong bent over, his face full of flattery. With a thunderous sound from the sky, "Old servant has arrived in all his glory." Another roommate was busy wiping down Zhang Wang's desk with his sleeve, saying, "Your Majesty, I've polished your desk to a brilliant shine. Not a single speck of dust left." Zhang Wang seemed to thoroughly enjoy this flattery. His hands tucked into his pockets, his head held high as he arrogantly walked past me. Then he pulled out 200 yuan from his bag and rewarded each of them with 100 yuan. Both of them nodded and bowed in gratitude. Zhou Qing's eyes gleamed as he stared at the LV bag slung over Zhang Wang's shoulder. "From the start of school, I knew you had an extraordinary aura, Brother Wang. I never imagined you were secretly a young master from a wealthy family." He shot me a glance as he finished speaking. "Not like some people. They spend 5,000 yuan just to hire movers for their luggage and think they're some kind of big shot. If you're really that rich, why don't you help Xuanxi out a bit? In my opinion, you're just trying to build yourself up. Who knows if that 5,000 yuan came from some shady source," Zhou Kong added. Zhang Wang's face lit up with joy as he basked in the praise. He let out a mocking laugh. "I hadn't originally planned to reveal my identity. First of all, I've always lived the life of a young master, and it's hard to adjust to being on my own. Secondly, I couldn't stand seeing you all being bullied by certain people." At this point, I realized without a doubt that I had indeed been reborn. It was freshman year again. I didn't want to expose my identity as a young master from the capital's elite circle, so I declined all offers of help and came to the university alone. Since I had no real concept of money, I carelessly threw out 5,000 yuan to hire movers for my luggage. To my surprise, it made me famous at school. Everyone started calling me the young master. But Zhang Wang was just a poor student. After Zhang Wang and Zhou Kong learned that I had spent 5,000 yuan on movers. They developed a grudge against me. They often mocked me in the dorm with their passive-aggressive comments. Just because you have a little money doesn't make you anything special. Some people just got lucky in the lottery of birth. Where does that sense of superiority come from? They also spread rumors about me everywhere, saying that I did nothing in the dorm, had a bad temper, and even bullied them. Slowly, my reputation worsened. I didn't pay them any attention, nor did I bother to clear my name. I didn't need to build connections with them. Till the rich second-generation student, Liu Ryan, started pursuing me aggressively. Zhang Wang suddenly swapped his worn-out, faded clothes for a full set of luxury brands. He even posted tasks in the dorm's group chat, claiming to be the son of the richest family in the Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai region. With Zhou Kong backing him up, everyone was convinced that Zhang Wang was the real young master of a wealthy family. They scrambled to serve him. I didn't expose him, thinking that maybe his scholarship had just been disbursed early. But as time went on, his spending became more and more lavish. One luxury item after another appeared in his possession. Even Liu Ryan gave up pursuing me and turned her attention towards Zhang Wang, chasing after him relentlessly. I knew well that Liu Ryan wasn't really a second-generation heiress. She was just an adopted girl. Out of goodwill, I tried to warn him, but he assumed I was jealous. He mocked me, saying, "Chen Weikuan, I can't stand that arrogant attitude of yours. When Liu Ryan was pursuing you, you acted all indifferent. Now that she's after me, you're green with envy." Liu Ryan told me herself. She never liked you. She only got close to you to get closer to me. I stopped trying to advise him. Then Liu Ryan confronted me. "Who do you think you are? You're just pretending to be rich for the sake of your vanity. Let me tell you, you don't even measure up to a single toe of Zhang Wang." Soon, rumors spread that I was just pretending to be wealthy, that I wasn't really a young master at all. Until one day, a group of gangsters cornered me on the sports field. They showed me a contract claiming I owed them 1 million yuan. They demanded I pay up immediately. Everyone pointed fingers at me, claiming I took out loans just to pretend to be rich. I was furious. I immediately hired someone to investigate. It turned out that Zhang Wang had stolen my ID to take out shady online loans. I contacted a lawyer right away to file a lawsuit against Zhang Wang. He pretended to apologize, claiming he would make things right. But when our roommates were out, he pushed me out the window. I died instantly from the fall. As he pushed me, I saw the resentment on his face. "Why should you get everything? You were born in Rome, while I was born like cattle and horses. If I can't have something, neither will you. After my death." He told everyone that my extravagant spending was due to loans, and that I jumped because I couldn't pay them back. Now back in the present, I smiled coldly. If it had been my previous life, I wouldn't have even bothered with their words, nor cared what they thought of me. But dying at the hands of such a fool filled me with deep regret. I turned to look at Zhang Wang, who was smirking, and said calmly, "Since you're such a capable young master, Zhang Wang, there's no need for you to apply for financial aid, is there?" Zhang Wang's face turned pale in an instant. He had a lot of pride. In order to hide the fact that he was a poor student, he had completed all the paperwork for financial aid before the school year began. At this moment, Zhou Kong chimed in. "If Brother Wang is so rich, why did he apply for financial aid? Stop slandering him." Zhang Wang's brow furrowed slightly, and he clenched his jaw tightly. He bit down on his back teeth in frustration. The next second, he let out a sneer, as if, "I am the son of the richest family in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai. Why would I need financial aid?" I smiled and said, "Is that so? But when I signed up, I saw your financial aid application." The smile froze on Zhang Wang's face, but he quickly recovered, glaring at me with gritted teeth as he said, "That must have been a mistake on my part. With so many forms to fill out at the beginning of the school year, Who would notice? I'll ask the teacher to withdraw the paperwork. Saying this, he called the class teacher right in front of us. His tone was filled with excuses, claiming he had accidentally filled out the financial aid form, and that it was submitted by mistake. Joe Kong believed him, since one fewer candidate meant better odds for him to get the aid. After hanging up, Zhang Wang gave me a disdainful glance. Financial aid is just a few thousand yuan. Even if it were thrown at my feet, I wouldn't bother to look at it. Just like in my previous life, the rumor of Zhang Wang being the son of the richest family in Jiangsu and Shanghai spread across the school by the next day. As soon as Zhang Wang stepped into the classroom, everyone started gossiping. Did you hear? Zhang Wang is the son of the richest man in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai. Better set his profile to special attention, so we can be the first to receive tasks from the young master. Every word of this gossip reached Liu Ryan's ears. A trace of excitement, like a hunter spotting its prey, flashed in her eyes. As class ended, the sky began to drizzle. A small puddle had formed right in front of the teaching building. Zhang Wang stood at the top of the steps, frowning as he looked down at the puddle and arrogantly said, "My shoes must not get wet. Who's willing to lie down on the ground? I'll walk across them and give them 1,000 yuan." As soon as he said this, everyone around stopped in their tracks, staring at him in shock. But no one moved. Seeing the situation, Zhang Wang sneered disdainfully. He pulled out 1,000 yuan in cash from his bag, handing it to a nearby boy with a harsh tone. "You, go!" The boy stared at the money in his hand, momentarily dazed. But the next second, he quickly lay down in the puddle. As he did, he mumbled, "Young master, please don't hold back. Step on me with all your strength." Zhang Wang smirked with satisfaction, ruthlessly stepping on the boy's back. Others soon snapped out of their shock, rushing to lie down in Zhang Wang's path. "Step on me, young master. My back is wide and strong. Walk on me, young master. My back is firm and steady. I guarantee you won't slip." Zhang Wang relished the treatment, enjoying every moment. After that incident, his fame grew even more. More and more people were eager to curry favor with him. Every day, a crowd rushed to serve Zhang Wang, polishing his shoes, massaging his back. Even tasks as simple as washing his face or feet were done for him, for money. In contrast to his ostentatious display, I had completely faded from the spotlight after the school year began. Only occasionally would someone mention me. Zhang Wang sneered with disdain. "Who do these nobodies think they are, trying to compare themselves to me? Just look at him, broke and still pretending to be rich." After observing for the past few days, Liu Ryan was fully convinced that Zhang Wang was indeed a young master. She gradually stopped bothering me and started appearing with Zhang Wang at the cinema and at coffee shops. It was clear that Liu Ryan had fallen for him. However, Zhang Wang was running out of money. He set his sights on me. The next day, my ID card mysteriously disappeared. Zhang Wang returned to the dorm looking refreshed, wearing a brand new outfit from head to toe. Zhou Kong and Lin Wei looked on with envy, showering Zhang Wang with every compliment they could muster. In his joy, Zhang Wang gave each of them 1,000 yuan. I spoke up calmly. "Has anyone seen my ID card?" The smug expression on Zhang Wang's face froze instantly. A flicker of guilt flashed across his eyes. He quickly snapped back. "Your ID is missing? Why are you asking us? Are you crazy or something?" Feigning hesitation, I replied, "But yesterday when I put my ID in my bag, you were the only one here." Zhang Wang frowned slightly, then gritted his teeth and said, "I, a dignified young master, wouldn't care for your measly ID. You could sell yourself and you wouldn't be worth one of my bags. If you dare slander me again, I'll have someone break your legs." Zhou Kong chimed in as well. "Exactly, Brother Wang is so generous with his roommates. How could Brother Wang take your ID? Don't be sour just because you can't have what you want. Zhang Wang and Liu Ryan officially and publicly announced their relationship. Liu Ryan even posted in her social circle, swearing that Zhang Wang was the only one she loved. She claimed that her previous pursuit of me had all been a misunderstanding. Zhang Wang commented as well, "I forgive you, my precious baby. I know you were just blinded by people like him. It seemed that only by continually humiliating me could he forget that he was nothing more than an ugly duckling." Zhang Wang thought that as long as he could keep Liu Ryan, he would escape the miserable life he had lived for 18 years and soar to new heights, becoming a phoenix. But what he didn't know was that Liu Ryan wasn't really a second-generation rich kid either. She was just like him, wearing a mask of wealth. After that, they began living like gods in their own little world. And to flaunt his supposed status, his demands became more and more bizarre. For example, at 3 a.m., Zhang Wang would start a group call, waking up the entire class just to have someone bring him and Liu Ryan some condoms. Or he would be at a villa miles away from the school and insist on having stir-fried noodles from the school cafeteria. But since he paid generously, everyone hoped to be the lucky one to win these tasks, and they all made him the center of attention. They spoiled him so much that he became completely unruly. One day, I was in line at the cafeteria as usual, when Zhang Wang and Liu Ryan arrived, surrounded by their group of admirers. Zhang Wang suddenly stopped right in front of me. He lightly tapped the person standing in front of me with his finger. "I'll give you 100 yuan. Give me your spot and go queue somewhere else." I glanced at the group behind Zhang Wang and frowned slightly. There were clearly other windows with shorter lines. He was obviously just picking a fight. I wasn't going to indulge him. I responded coldly, "If you want to queue, go to another window." Zhang Wang tilted his head, looking at me, and taunted, "Oh, what's the matter? Is this your home?" With that, he threw the 100 yuan at the person in front of me. Just as the student was about to bend down to pick it up, I grabbed his arm. "I'll give you 200, don't move." The student looked at me in surprise. Zhang Wang frowned slightly. 300, move, 400, stay put. Zhang Wang raised his eyes to look at me and let out a mocking laugh. "This spot is mine, no matter what." He then turned to the student in front and said, "I'll give you 1,000. Move right now." The student's mouth fell open when he heard the offer of 1,000 yuan. Just as he was about to give up his spot to Zhang Wang, I stopped him. I raised my voice and declared, "Today, no one in the cafeteria is allowed to give up their spot to Zhang Wang." Zhang Wang chuckled upon hearing this. "Chen Weikuan, who do you think you are? Why would anyone listen to you?" I calmly added, "Anyone who doesn't give up their spot to Zhang Wang can collect 2,000 yuan from me after lunch." Afraid they wouldn't believe me, one immediately transferred the money to the students in front of me as proof. Zhang Wang's smile quickly faded into a scowl. The students who saw me actually transferring money stood still, remaining in their spots. Zhang Wang clenched his fists, furious. There were over 100 people in the cafeteria. Without even blinking, I promised that much money. The more Zhang Wang thought about it, the angrier he got. When he finally spoke, his voice trembled slightly. "You let this small amount of money buy you all off? You're nothing but a bunch of country bumpkins who've never seen real money." Someone casually remarked, "If 2,000 is small money, then give me 2,000 too. If you're really rich, you wouldn't need to talk so much. You'd just hand it over." Zhang Wang couldn't come up with that much money. Fearing that people would start doubting him, he immediately spat out a threat. "I'll have my dad donate 1 million yuan to the school and show you all what real power looks like." The next day, Zhang Wang posted a picture of the donation agreement in the group chat, but the agreement hadn't been signed yet. In the group, he said, "As soon as my dad transfers the money, I'll immediately donate it to the school." Some people would lick the boots of a fraud for small favors. "If you're really capable, don't ever use anything from my family." Everyone in the group cheered him on, but I silently chuckled. I never believed him for a second. He thought 1 million yuan was a huge amount, but even if he died, he'd never have a father who could produce that kind of money. So once again, he set his sights on my ID, and sure enough, my ID has disappeared again. The next day, he donated 1 million to the school in his name. He had firmly established himself as the son of the richest man in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai. No one questioned him anymore. His classmates elevated him to great heights. Even the school leaders regarded him with great respect. When they saw him, they were exceedingly courteous. I was counting the days. Finally, I could prepare to reel in my net. On the very day the school organized a gala, a few men in black arrived to find me. The leader wore a fierce expression. He spoke in a harsh tone. "You are Shen Tianjie?" I nodded slightly. His tone was unfriendly. "You borrowed 1 million from us. It's now overdue. When do you plan to repay it?" As soon as his words fell, the surroundings erupted in skepticism. Isn't Shen Weijie the young master? Why would he need to take out a loan? Has he been living off loans all this time? My heavens! In this day and age, there really are people pretending to be wealthy through loans. No wonder he was so extravagant before. Meanwhile, Zhang Wang and Liu Ryan were being supported by several people as they walked over. Zhang Wang glanced at the debt collectors. He frowned slightly, but quickly returned to his composed self. He wrapped his arm around Liu Ryan's waist. With a look of disdain, he gazed at me. "Oh, look! Isn't this our young master Shen Weijie? How come you've taken out a loan? I warned you before. If you have no money, don't pretend to be rich. Look at you now. Everyone at school knows you're borrowing to appear wealthy. If I were your parents, I wished I'd bash my head against a wall. Just wait to be expelled from school." Zhang Wang's words further confirmed that I was pretending to be wealthy through loans. Liu Ryan sneered for a moment. Back then, he paid 5,000 to have someone move his luggage, yet he acted like a big shot. Turns out it was all based on loans. I glanced at her. I took a sweeping look from head to toe. She was completely dressed in new clothes. It seemed she had gained quite a bit from Zhang Wang. I surveyed the crowd around me. Everyone's eyes were filled with disdain and confusion. I let out a cold laugh. I didn't take out a loan. Someone stole my ID card to borrow money at high interest. After saying this, I turned to Zhang Wang. He had been wearing a look of contempt, eager to watch the drama unfold. But upon hearing my words, a flicker of panic crossed his face. He quickly frowned and scolded. "What are you staring at me for? Do you think I stole your ID card? To take a loan, Shen Weijie, for heaven's sake, think before you speak." Those who had benefited from Zhang Wang's favor also jumped in to support him. These days, loans require facial recognition. Shen Weijie, if you're going to lie, at least have some common sense. Exactly. A young master who spends so lavishly. How could he possibly steal your ID to take out a loan? It must be you trying to pretend to be rich. Zhang Wang's classmates all stood by him, smugly looking at me. Then he urged the debt collectors. "What are you still dawdling for? He owes you 1 million. Hurry up and make him pay. Don't let him escape, or you'll never catch him." Zhang Wang warned the debt collectors. One of the debt collectors shot me a fierce look, growling, "Debts must be repaid. That's the natural law. If you dare avoid us, we'll make sure all your friends and family know you're a deadbeat." I remained calm, smiling as I said, "If I truly owe you money, I will definitely repay it. But I can prove that someone stole my ID." I walked over to the projector and cast the video from my phone onto the screen. On the screen, footage of Zhang Wang stealing my ID played clearly. Zhang Wang froze in place, his face pale, staring at the screen in disbelief. I smirked slightly. "Care to explain? Young Master Zhang, why you stole my ID?" I deliberately emphasized the word "stole." The room fell into a sudden silence. All eyes were on me and Zhang Wang, but no one questioned what they were seeing. Liu Ryan glanced at the screen, then suddenly spoke up. Chen Weikuan, you must have prepared this fake video in advance, just to pin this whole loaning to fake wealth situation on Brother Wang. I didn't think you could be this despicable. Zhang Wang, whose nerves had been on edge, relaxed slightly after hearing Liu Ryan's words. Then other students began to chime in. I think this video looks fake too. If young Master Wang really stole your ID, why didn't you report it to the police? It's obvious that you took out loans to fake being rich. And now you want young Master Wang to take the blame for your mistakes. Do you have no shame? Shen Dao, you're disgusting. You need to apologize to young Master Wang immediately. Seeing that no one believed me, Zhang Wang sneered with confidence. I never imagined, Shen Weijia, that you'd use AI to create a fake video to slander me. I demand that you, right now, apologize to me in front of everyone. Delete that video from your phone and get out of this school. You are never to appear in front of me again. Other students began shoving me, while shouting, apologize, get out of the school. As I was being pushed and yelled at to apologize, a stern voice cut through the noise. What's going on here? The student stopped and looked towards the school leaders and obediently stepped aside. The school leaders, who initially looked serious, brightened up the moment they saw Zhang Wang. With a warm smile, they greeted him. Zhang Wang, you're here too. Zhang Wang glanced at the school leaders, his arrogance on full display. You've arrived just in time. Shen Weijia has been taking out loans to fake his wealth, and now debt collectors are chasing him down at school. He's even trying to slander me, saying that I stole his ID to take out the loans. Someone like him doesn't deserve to be at the same school as me. The school leaders glanced at me with a bit of hesitation. Zhang Wang continued, if you can't give me a satisfactory explanation, I won't hesitate to withdraw my donation to the school. And there will be no future donations either. At the mention of the donation, the school leaders quickly put on a smile and said apologetically, rest assured, Zhang Wang, we will give you a satisfactory resolution to this matter, the school leader said, turning to glare at me. His tone became icy. Normally, the school wouldn't interfere with your loans, but to satisfy your vanity, you publicly slandered a fellow student, damaging his reputation. This shows an extremely problematic mindset. A student like you has no place in our school. You will be expelled immediately, and you must publicly apologize to Zhang Wang. Also, delete every video you have that slanders him. Zhang Wang looked at me with a taunting expression. As long as I was expelled, no one would ever know that he was the one who stole my ID to take out those loans, and he could continue living his life as the young master without any repercussions. I looked at the bald-headed school leader in front of me and spoke coldly. Are you sure you want to do this? Aren't you afraid that the principal will find out you're abusing your power by expelling a student without cause? The leader hesitated for a moment, but then raised his voice. You were the one who broke the school rules first. I have full authority to handle this. There's no need to report it to the principal. Seeing that the moment was right, I smiled and said, well then, it's time for the truth to come out. I made a video call, and soon a middle-aged man's face appeared on the large screen. Several students began to murmur in confusion. What is Shen Weikuan doing? Who is that? Could that be the old man who's been sponsoring him? The middle-aged man looked directly at me. With a kind expression, the man said, it's you. What brings you to call me today? I glanced at Zhang Wang and said, Uncle, I need you to clarify something. I then turned the camera toward Zhang Wang. He claims to be the son of the richest man in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai, which would mean he's your son. But how come I didn't know you had such a son? The middle-aged man's demeanor immediately became serious upon hearing this. What's going on? You know my son, and he's currently abroad. Who is this person? Why is he pretending to be my son? Don't worry. I'll have someone look into this right away. With that, he ended the call. Everyone around was left in stunned silence, their eyes wide with confusion. Zhang Wang's eyes bulged, his earlier smugness completely wiped away. Liu Ryan stepped forward again. Chen Weikuan, what kind of trick are you pulling? Why did you call some old man? What does he have to do with this? Hurry up and apologize to Brother Wang, then get lost. I scoffed. Liu Ryan, aren't you supposed to be a second-generation rich kid? How is it that you don't even recognize the richest man in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai? My words hit a sore spot for her, and her face suddenly turned bright red. After a long pause, she retorted, "Ridiculous! You just found some random guy to pretend to be the richest man. If Brother Wang's father finds out, he won't let you off." Just as she finished speaking, someone in the crowd exclaimed, "Wait, that really was the richest man in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai, Zhang Sheng. I just looked him up on Baidu." Liu Ryan stood there as if she had been struck by lightning. She then snatched the phone from the person who had spoken, her hands trembling uncontrollably. The murmurs around her grew louder and louder. What's going on? Could Zhang Wang be an illegitimate child? Who exactly is Chen Weikuan? How does he know the richest man in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai? Zhang Wang's expression calm, but his fingers, hidden inside his sleeves, clenched tightly. He then flashed a smile. First you use AI to claim I stole your ID. Then you AI my dad's face onto someone else's. And now you're slandering me by saying I'm not my father's son. Chen Weikuan, you've got guts. I had to admire Zhang Wang's composure in such a tense situation. The murmurs of doubt started to fade away, and the crowd turned its criticism back toward me. I was almost cornered again by Zhang Wang's manipulation. Damn it! Even the debt collectors were now too engrossed in the drama to remember their purpose. Completely distracted from their task, the students resumed chanting for me to apologize to Zhang Wang and leave the school. But amidst the loud calls, a deep voice cut through the crowd. Who dares to tell my son to leave the school? The crowd parted as bodyguards pushed people aside, creating a path. A tall man walked toward me, followed by police officers and the school principal. I couldn't help but smile slightly as I saw him approach. Everything that happened today had been part of my plan from the start. From the very beginning, I had placed a hidden camera on me, broadcasting the entire scene live. I did this to expose their true colors. The bald-headed school leader, completely oblivious to the situation, pointed at me in front of the principal and, like a villain accusing first, said, "Principal, this student here falsely accused Zhang Wang of stealing her ID to take out loans. Her behavior is absolutely disgraceful." The principal, with a look of utter disappointment, managed to squeeze out two words. "Shut up." I called out to the man approaching. "Dad, I didn't expect this to trouble you." My father shot the bald-headed leader a sharp glance, then patted my shoulder. He turned to Zhang Wang and Liu Ryan with a cold stare. "So, you two are the ones ganging up to bully my son at school?" Zhang Wang frowned slightly, sizing up my father. But Liu Ryan, still oblivious to the gravity of the situation, scoffed. Chen Weikuan took out loans to fake his wealth. Are you also borrowing from some leasing company? Like father, like son, both are a disgrace. Just as she finished speaking, a bodyguard standing nearby slapped her across the face, drawing gasps from the surrounding crowd. No one dared speak ill of me anymore. Liu Ryan, who had never experienced such humiliation, covered her face and threatened my father. Zhang Wang's father is the richest man in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai. He won't let you get away with this, and neither will my family. My father gave the bodyguard a subtle signal. The bodyguard slapped Liu Ryan again. Zhang Wang quickly stepped in front of her, his face filled with anger. What gives you the right to hit her? Where are the school security guards? What kind of place is this, letting just anyone in? Zhang Wang muttered. My father let out a cold laugh. Young man, the police are right here. What security do you think you need? Zhang Wang froze as he glanced at the police officers behind my father. He hesitantly asked, "Who exactly are you?" My father smiled slightly. "Who I am doesn't matter. What matters is, who are you?" Zhang Wang took a small step back. And at this point, even a fool could tell my father was not an ordinary person. Zhang Wang no longer boasted about being the son of the richest man. My father continued, "I saw everything that just happened here with my own eyes. You claimed my son slandered you, so I brought the police. Let's have them verify, in front of the entire school, whether the video in his hands is real or fake. You said you were Zhang Sheng's son, so I called Zhang Sheng as well." My father paused for a moment. "Oh, wait, he hasn't arrived yet." As soon as my father finished speaking, the sound of a helicopter filled the air above us. My father glanced up. "He's here." A helicopter descended onto the school field. The middle-aged man I had spoken with earlier arrived, looking a bit weary from the journey. He was followed by several bodyguards and a few doctors. After exchanging a familiar nod with my father, his gaze locked onto Zhang Wang. "You are the one pretending to be my son." As soon as he said this, the entire crowd erupted in shock. This was Zhang Sheng himself. He had really shown up in person. So Zhang Wang wasn't his son after all. Then who was Zhang Wang? And who exactly is Chen Weikuan? Does this mean that Zhang Wang has been lying all along? Zhang Wang stumbled backward and fell to the ground, unable to keep his balance. Zhang Sheng, with a stern expression, said, "I can't believe that I didn't know someone was pretending to be my son. If this gets out, do you have any idea how much trouble this will cause?" To clear himself of any association with Zhang Wang, he ordered the doctors to take a blood sample for a paternity test on the spot. Zhang Wang struggled and screamed, "Chen Weikuan, who exactly are you?" I smirked and replied, "Who I am doesn't matter. What matters is, who are you?" After a quick investigation by the police, they held Zhang Wang's file in. Read it aloud in front of everyone. Zhang Wang, born in 2006, resident of No. 13, Jiangjia Village, Xi City. Parents are farmers. Annual family income is 8,000 yuan. A key poverty alleviation household in the village. Applied for financial aid before starting university, but later cancelled it himself. Upon further verification, Chen Huaikuan's video is authentic. Zhang Wang took out high-interest loans under Chen Huaikuan's name 3 times, totaling 1.8 million yuan. Each sentence hit Zhang Wang like a hammer, one blow after another. His face turned ashen, and all the arrogance he once had was completely gone. Those who had supported Zhang Wang earlier now hung their heads, too afraid to meet my eyes, worried I might remember their involvement. The onlookers were wide-eyed in disbelief. Oh my god, it turns out the one faking his wealth with loans was Zhang Wang all along. So the young master had been telling the truth from the start. He actually borrowed that much money and kept slandering the young master all this time. That's terrifying. His family only earns 3,000 yuan a year, and he dared to take out 1.8 million in loans. He'll never pay that off in his lifetime. The one most devastated was Liu Ryan. She had truly believed that Zhang Wang was the son of the richest man in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai. She thought she had secured a wealthy partner. Her face twisted in madness, and she screamed at Zhang Wang, "Didn't you say you were the son of the richest man? Why did you lie to me? Why?" Zhang Wang's eyes turned bloodshot as Liu Ryan confronted him. He shouted back, "It's all because of you. If you hadn't chased after Chen Weikuan back then, ignoring me completely, I wouldn't have done any of this." As he continued, Zhang Wang broke down in tears. Sobbing, he said, "Liu Ryan, I made a mistake. I didn't mean to deceive you. Please help me. Your family is rich. You can definitely save me. If you help me, I'll do anything you want." Liu Ryan let out a cold laugh. You think you deserve that? Zhang Wang suddenly snapped and started hitting Liu Ryan in a fit of rage. I've spent so much money on you. You can't just abandon me like this. Watching the two of them tear each other apart, I turned to leave with my father. The bald-headed school leader suddenly stepped in front of me, bowing his head, stammering. Chen Weikuan, I wrongly accused you without investigating the situation, and that was my failure. I sincerely apologize. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I glanced at his shiny bald head and said flatly, I accept your apology. The bald-headed leader's face lit up with joy as he looked up at me. But I continued. However, a teacher like you has no place in this school anymore. The smile that had just started to form froze on his face. Afterward, Zhang Sheng, holding the paternity test results, officially declared that he had no connection with Zhang Wang, although everyone had already confirmed Zhang Wang's true identity. Hearing this news still made them gasp. Zhang Wang was taken away by the police, and the debt collectors, who had been too busy gossiping to do their job, were taken with him. Upon further investigation, it was revealed that Zhang Wang had taken out loans from an illegal lending company. As long as you had someone's ID information, they would approve the loan. The loan amounts were large, but the interest rates were sky high. The loan company had heard from Zhang Wang that I was wealthy, so they increased Zhang Wang's loan limit, hoping to extort a large sum from me. They didn't expect to run into someone they couldn't manipulate. In the end, the police shut down the entire operation. This news spread quickly throughout the school. At the same time, my true identity was uncovered. Did you hear? Chen Huaikuan's dad is actually a big shot in the Beijing circle. That's right. Chen Huaikuan is the real young master from Beijing. Oh my god. Thank goodness I didn't side with Zhang Wang. Hearing all of this, I simply smiled. Through this experience, I learned one important lesson. Only when you have enough status and power can you truly protect yourself, and only then will others truly listen to what you have to say. So I no longer made an effort to hide my identity. A few days after her initial despair, Liu Ryan reappeared at school, suddenly reverting to her behavior from the start of the semester when she was obsessively pursuing me. She stopped me in the school hallway, her face full of sincerity as she looked at me. Weikuan, after everything that's happened, I finally realized my true feelings. I was deceived by Zhang Wang before, which is why I said all those hurtful things to you. But these past few days, I've thought it over carefully. You are the one who's always been my shining light. Can you give me another chance? I felt a wave of nausea rise within me. Without any mercy, I responded. Do you even understand our difference in status? Do you really think you're any better than Zhang Wang? Always pretending to be a second-generation rich kid, when in reality, your bank account is empty. Your tricks might fool someone like Zhang Wang, but the guys you've conned over the years are already planning to file a joint lawsuit against you. So get ready to cough up everything you've swallowed. The rose she held in her hand fell to the floor. Her eyes filled with a mix of emotions as she stared at me, gritting her teeth as she said, So, you knew all along. I gave her a cold glance. True wealth isn't something you can fake. Liu Ryan's pretense of being a second-generation rich kid spread through the school overnight. By the next day, she had disappeared without a trace. Zhang Wang's parents soon arrived from their hometown. Zhang Wang's parents came to me, begging for mercy, asking me to let him go. Looking at the two elderly, white-haired people, all I could do was tell them how to file a lawsuit against Liu Ryan. Afterward, I completed the necessary paperwork for my withdrawal from school and prepared to leave the country. When I returned to the dorm to pack my things, I ran into Zhou Kong and Lin Wei. They looked at me nervously, mumbling a quiet apology. I didn't accept it. 5 years later, I returned to the country. I heard that Zhang Wang had been released from prison. He was working as a waiter at a restaurant. When he saw me, his eyes flashed with a mix of emotions. anger, resentment, and hatred. I didn't say a word, simply left him an address. Before I left, he stared at the distant sky and said softly, "Chen Weikuin, I really envy you. You were born with everything. I hope that in the next life, I can be as lucky as you." Half a month later, a gruesome murder was reported at a residential building. Two people were found dead, a man and a woman. As I watched the news, the lingering nightmares from my past life finally faded away. After Zhang Wang went to prison, I visited him once. At the time, he still harbored deep hatred for me. But when I told him about Liu Ryan's pretense of being a rich heiress, he suddenly burst into maniacal laughter. I knew that a seed had been quietly planted in his heart. All I had to do was wait patiently for it to take root and grow. Liu Ryan hadn't disappeared. She had simply changed her name and moved to another city, continuing to use the same tricks to get what she wanted from men. From time to time, I would have someone pass these updates on to Zhang Wang, waiting for this moment. Looking out at the neon lights outside my window, I knew my new life had truly begun. The end.